All right, guys, we are out here to do a long distance test on Aventon's newest version of the Pace 500. It's the third version of it. And so we're gonna see how far it can go. Unfortunately, I don't have an extra battery for this bike, so I'm gonna have to try to play it out right. But this bike does ride pretty easy enough without battery power. So I think we're gonna be good either way. I don't know, but let's get out on the road and see how far she goes. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago. We have gone about 12 miles. We are at 75% battery power left. We still have a lot more to go. One of the things that I've noticed, this bike is super comfortable. Holy cow. And I think, you know, and I'm surprised considering that it doesn't have like a front suspension shock. Instead, it's all rigid. But when it comes to this seat, like they really put a lot of thought when it came into it, because it has these little shock absorbers here on the back, and that seems to be taking up a lot of the hits that this bike gets. Now, this is Chicago, don't get me wrong. The bike is getting a little bit of a beating, but this seat really does help. All right, well, let's keep going and see what we can do. We are moving right along. I ended up taking southeast of Lakeshore Drive instead of northwest is what I normally do. So we have some different sites today. Look at how far I am from Chicago. Normally I would be concerned, but we've gone 51% of battery. We've gone 16 miles. Strava says we've done 17. So we're a little bit off there. I'll put it right there so you can see it. And now we're gonna start heading back just because I'm not sure how far I'm gonna make it before I lose all the battery power, but I'm feeling pretty good. It's 42 degrees out. There's very little wind. It's just a beautiful day here in Chicago, and I appreciate you coming along with me. So we're gonna hop back on the bike, head down the road, and see where we stand. We're about 2 miles from the house. When I pulled over, it said it had 9% battery left. It's jumped up to 11 now. We have done right under 27 miles. So we're at 26.9. So I know that we can get 30 miles out of this bike before it runs out. I'm almost to the house. I might run up and down the 606 trail here just to see if we can get it exhausted. It's become 48 degrees out. It's super nice. And I'm so glad to be out today. So let's get back on the road and see if we can't squeeze the last bit of juice out of this battery. I've made it back home and things are great. What a great day to go for a bike ride. The bike shows that it has 32.9 miles on it as we drain the battery down to 0. Strava says that we did 34.22 miles, so I'm not really sure which one is correct on that. But let me give you the overall views on the bike. I think I could have rode this bike all day. This bike, I believe, is one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden. Not only because of the positioning of it, but the seat is awesome. The grips are super comfy. And the fact that it doesn't have a front, a suspension fork, didn't seem to matter with this bike. It was just a solid, excellent bike. I spent most of my time in touring. Actually, I spent all my time in touring. And when it comes to the battery draining, once I got down to like 12% battery power, the throttle wouldn't take you up to 20 miles an hour like it normally does. It only took you to like 14 or 15. And as the battery drained, the throttle gave you less and less support. As the same with the motor, I had to put it up in turbo towards the end just to get any feeling out of it. So keep that in mind. The lower your battery, once you get under 10, you're really going to have to set everything up and you'll just be moving a little bit more. So you're going to have to put more pressure and do more body power to keep this bike moving. It's a light bike, so it's really not that big of a deal. Since I like to give an honest review, Aventon, what's up with my brakes? I had this issue with my Adventure 2 that the brakes on this bike are, well, they're squeaking, and you could say that's because I didn't bet them, but that's not it. The front's like grinding, and it's doing a little bit of shimmer that it can. Now, I had that same issue with my Adventure 2. I got a hold of Support. Support sent me new rotors and brake pads, and it solved the issue. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen with this one. I just think that it's funny that it's 2 for 2 when it comes to me and brakes. Like what are the chances? Also, if you guys are interested in the 3rd generation of the Pace 500, go ahead, please click my link down in the description below before you purchase. Number 1, that helps support the channel, and number 2, that lets Aventon know that you guys value my videos. That's it for this review. We know how far she'll do in cold weather. Guess we'll have to test it again in the warm weather, but for now we know. So until I see you guys again, enjoy the ride.